Don't listen to anyone who tells you size doesn't matter when it comes to military machines. Nothing is more important than size and power. Today we're gonna show you the 30 biggest military vehicles ever created. Watch to the end. You'll be amazed. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Thanks. The U.S. Gerald R. Ford isn't just America's newest aircraft carrier. It's a floating fortress, like a giant Legio. It was assembled from half a thousand blocks, and that's just the foundation. It took 9 years to build and cost $17.5 billion. That's more than enough to buy the entire Bahamas. This 337-meter monster stands taller than the 93-meter Statue of Liberty and displaces over 100,000 tons. Its massive deck has enough space for 90 fighters, 100 vehicles, and houses 4,160 personnel. 201B nuclear reactors power this behemoth. Enough energy to power every home in Hampton, Virginia. With unlimited range and electromagnetic launch systems. The Gerald R. Ford doesn't just sail the seas, it dominates them. The Nimitz-class carriers are America's workhorses of naval power. These nuclear giants stretch 333 meters. Longer than the Empire State Building is tall, with displacements up to 106,300 tons. Each Nimitz is basically a floating city that can travel at 30+ knots. 2 of 4 Dumi reactors generate 260,000 horsepower, letting these monsters operate for 25 years without refueling, with crews of 5,000+ and 90 aircraft. When these titans appear off your coastline, you know America means business. The Big USS Enterprise made history as the world's first nuclear carrier. At 342 meters, this legendary vessel was even longer than its successors. 8 nuclear reactors powered this 94,781-ton beast during its 51-year service, the longest of any carrier. Enterprise wasn't just a ship, it was a statement of American superiority that sailed the seas for half a century. China's answer to American carrier dominance is the Fujian. Launched in 2022, this 316-meter Leviathan displaces 100,000 tons and features electromagnetic catapults like the Ford-class. Unlike China's previous ski-jump carriers, the Fujian can launch heavier aircraft with greater payloads. When this dragon takes to the seas, the Pacific power balance shifts dramatically. Do you know what can be produced at 200 factories at the same time? The largest submarine in the world, the Typhoon class, Akula in Russian, is a 172-meter underwater monster that's 24 meters wide and 27 meters tall. So big that 2 Ural trucks could easily drive on top of it, despite weighing 48,000 tons submerged. This shark moves at 27 knots, easily breaking through 2.5-meter Arctic ice. With swimming pools, saunas, and 20 nuclear missiles, these 2 submarines in one-body behemoths are underwater cities of destruction. The Kirov-class battlecruiser looks like something from Star Wars, but it's very real. At 252 meters and displacing 28,000 tons, it's the largest non-carrier warship ever built. Its hybrid nuclear conventional propulsion system hits 32 knots, while 20 massive P-700 Granite missiles can sink an entire carrier group. When the Pyotr Veliky, Peter the Great, sails, even U.S. admirals take notice. It's not a warship, it's a floating nuclear arsenal. But the Kirov is nothing but a minnow compared to the megalodon Yamato. This 263-meter Japanese battleship was a 72,000-ton armored monster. Its mammoth 18.1-inch guns fired 1.3-ton shells, the largest caliber guns ever mounted on a warship. When this beast rushed across the sea at 27 knots, enemy sailors froze in terror. It took 3 raids with 227 American aircraft to finally sink this monster. Some beasts refuse to die easily. China's first homegrown carrier, the Shandong, proves they're serious about naval power. At 315 meters and 70,000 tons, it uses conventional steam power and a ski jump ramp for launching its 44 aircraft, protected by HQ-10 missiles and the terrifying Type 1130 CIWS that fires 10,000 rounds per minute. The Shandong is China's first step toward naval dominance. Russia's Admiral Kuznetsov isn't just a carrier. It's a missile cruiser on steroids. At 304.5 meters and 67,000 tons, it packs 12 massive P-700 Granite missiles that can sink enemies over the horizon. Using a 12-degree ski jump, it launches 30 fighters while carrying 17 helicopters. Unfortunately for Russia, it spends more time in repair docks than at sea, trailing black smoke when it does sail. Even giants have weaknesses. The now-retired Kitty Hawk carriers were America's last conventional supercarriers. At 326 meters and 84,000 tons, 8 massive boilers powered these beasts to 30-plus knots. Each carried 90 aircraft, with crews of 5,600. These veterans served for nearly 50 years before nuclear power took over. The Forrestal-class were America's first true supercarriers. These 325-meter, 82,000-ton revolutionaries introduced angled flight decks and steam catapults that changed naval aviation forever. 8 boilers generated 280,000 horsepower, pushing them to 33 knots with 80 to 90 aircraft. These trailblazers established the pattern for all carriers that followed. The Midway-class carriers were adaptation champions. The U.S. Midway served for 47 years, from World War II until Desert Storm. At 305 meters and 70,000 tons after modernizations, these workhorses evolved through the Cold War. 12 boilers fed 4 turbines with 212,000 horsepower, hitting 33 knots with 4,500 crew. The Midway didn't just witness naval history, it helped write it across 5 decades. Britain's HMS Queen Elizabeth proves the Royal Navy still builds big. At 284 meters and 65,000 tons, its distinctive twin-island design separates ship control from flight operations. Using Rolls-Royce gas turbines and a ski jump ramp, it carries 40 F-35B stealth fighters and various helicopters. When this British behemoth sails, it brings sovereign territory anywhere on Earth. France's Charles de Gaulle is Europe's only nuclear carrier. At 261.5 meters and 42,000 tons, its 2 K-15 reactors power it to 27 knots, while American-built catapults launch Rafale jets every minute. Armed with Aster and Mistral missiles, it carries 40 aircraft. With a 2,000-person crew, when French interests are threatened, the de Gaulle is there to say none. America's 257-meter America-class assault ships are more than troop transports. They're mini aircraft carriers, using hybrid propulsion with 75,000-plus horsepower. These 45,000-ton beasts carry 20 F-35B stealth fighters plus Ospreys and helicopters, alongside 1,700 Marines. When Marines need to hit a beach, these floating fortresses deliver the complete package. The Wasp-class amphibious ships are floating military bases. These 257-meter, 41,000-ton giants transport 1,800-plus Marines, vehicles, landing craft, and 30 aircraft. Their well decks flood to launch hovercraft, while helicopters and Harriers fly from above. Protected by missiles and phalanx guns, they bring entire invasion forces anywhere on Earth. Can you imagine a flying ship 7 stories high with a wingspan longer than a football field? The Antonov An-124 Ruslan looks like it could swallow other aircraft whole. With a 73.3-meter wingspan and 402-ton takeoff weight. 4 massive D-18T engines each produce 51,670 pounds of thrust, flying at 537 miles per hour. With a cargo volume of 1,028 cubic meters, this Ukrainian monster can transport tanks, smaller aircraft, or entire military units. Its kneeling undercarriage and drive-through loading make it the ultimate flying warehouse. America's answer is the C-5M Super Galaxy. With a 67.9-meter wingspan, 75.3-meter length, and 381-ton takeoff weight, 4 GE engines, each producing 50,000 pounds of thrust, push this beast to Mach 0.77. Its 28-wheel landing gear and distinctive T-tail support a cargo bay so large you could fit an entire Chinook helicopter inside. When America needs to move battlefields, the Galaxy delivers. But nothing beats the Tu-160 Blackjack. the largest and heaviest combat aircraft ever built. With variable sweep wings spanning up to 55.7 meters and weighing 275 tons, 4 NK 321 afterburning engines launch it to Mach 2.05, twice the speed of sound. It can reach the stratosphere while carrying 45 tons of weapons in dual bomb bays. With 46 world records and a range of 12,300 kilometers, it can strike anywhere in America from Russia. Watch how gracefully it avoids F-35 interception, a true aerial predator. Here's a regular Mi-6 helicopter, and here's their daddy, the super-huge Mi-26 Halo. Standing 8.1 meters tall with a 32-meter rotor diameter, you could play basketball inside its 3.1-meter high cabin, higher than an NBA hoop. Powered by two D136 engines producing 11,400 horsepower each, this 8-bladed monster reaches 183 miles per hour while carrying 20 tons, twice its own weight. It's evacuated countless 30-meter Chinooks from Afghanistan, lifting them like toys. World War II's Messerschmitt Me 323 Gigant was aptly named, with a 55.2-meter wingspan and 6 engines producing up to 1,150 up each. This wooden monster could carry 130 troops or a 20-ton tank through its clamshell nose doors. Unfortunately for Germany, these slow giants were easy targets. Sometimes being biggest makes you the biggest target. The KC-135 Stratotanker doesn't look impressive until you realize its impact. With a 39.9-meter wingspan and 146-ton weight, these flying gas stations extend the range of every American aircraft. Modernized versions with CFM56 engines can transfer 200,000 pounds of fuel while carrying 83,000 pounds of cargo. These aerial refuelers have enabled global air power for 6 decades, force multipliers that make American dominance possible. The Russian Il-76 Candid is versatility incarnate, with a 50.5-meter wingspan and 210-ton weight. 4 PS-90 A-76 engines push it to 528 miles per hour, carrying 60 tons of cargo. Its rear ramp and rugged landing gear allow operation from unprepared runways, delivering 225 troops or paratroopers anywhere on Earth. When Russia needs to project power to remote regions, the Il-76 delivers. The Schwerer Gustav wasn't just artillery. It was a man-made disaster on rails. This 800mm German railway gun weighed 1,350 tons, stretched 47.3 meters long, stood 11.6 meters high, and was 7.1 meters wide. Each shell was the size of a small car, 7.1 tons for armor-piercing rounds, and could penetrate 7 meters of concrete from 47 kilometers away. It took 250 men to assemble in 3 days, 2,500 to lay tracks, and fired 14 rounds per day. When Gustav fired, the earth itself trembled. What do Mickey Mouse and a 188-ton tank have in common? Their name. The Germans found it amusing to name the Panzer VIII Maus after a tiny rodent. At 10.2 meters long, 3.7 meters wide, and 3.6 meters high, this behemoth weighs as much as 100 pickup trucks. With armor up to 240 millimeters thick and armed with 128 millimeters and 75 millimeters guns, it was nearly invulnerable but painfully slow at just 20 kilometers. /8 bridges collapse under its weight. Sometimes bigger isn't better. The Char 2C was the tank with the largest dimensions ever put into service. This 10-meter French giant stood 4 meters high, like Shaquille O'Neal standing on Jason Momoa's head. Built a century ago, this 69-ton monster had 2 engines with 250 ep each, reaching speeds of 15 kilometers. Armed with a 75mm gun plus 4 machine guns, it needed a 12-person crew, including mechanics and electricians. Despite its impressive size, its thin armor and slow speed made it obsolete by World War II. Some giants are born too early for greatness. But the largest combat vehicle ever built is the Russian Tsar Tank. This steam pump nightmare featured two massive 9-meter front wheels with a 12-meter hull between them and a tiny 1.5-meter roller in the back. Two 240 Maybach engines were supposed to drive this 60-ton tricycle at 17 kilometers/h, but incorrect weight distribution meant the rear wheel just dove itself in. The Tsar Tank became a 60-ton monument to itself, never entering service. Is someone lost here? No, this is the LARCLX, a 100-ton amphibious beast, whose 3.2-meter wheels dwarf the men beside it. Almost the size of a swimming pool at 19.2 meters long, 8.1 meters wide, and 6 meters high. This 3-story vehicle is powered by 4 diesel engines driving both wheels and propellers. It can carry its own weight in cargo, tanks, armored cars, containers, or even another amphibious vehicle. Moving at 20 miles per hour on land and 7.5 miles per hour in water, it's best to stay out of its way. It hates tiny cars. The MAZ 7907 answers the question, how many wheels can we put on one vehicle? The answer, 24. This Soviet missile carrier stretched 28 meters with a loaded weight of 200 tons. What made it incredible was its powertrain, a single gas turbine engine driving electric motors at each wheel. With 12 axles, 8 steerable, this mobile doomsday machine could deploy 105-ton RT-23 nuclear missiles from anywhere. Only 2 prototypes exist of this 24-wheel apocalypse bringer. We'll wrap it up for today. Write in the comments which military monster impressed you the most. Don't forget to like and subscribe.